And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. You're joined today with myself, Shawn Gervais from OrbisX, as well as Marty, Mr. Marshall Hill from the Pints and Polishing podcast, as well as hyperClean car care products and everything else that you could use to make your car look fantastic. We're also joined today with Mr. Darren. And Darren is from, well, several different ventures, but today he's joining us from Resurrection. I can't remember the rest. It's just Resurrection Detailing.
Resurrection Auto Detailing, Tint Protection.
There we go. I knew it was like 15 syllables.
Yeah, same thing I tell my wife. It's a mouthful.
It's fantastic. I don't get to say that. Mine's tiny, but at least it's carry on.
Cute.
Yeah, it's how you write your name, not the pencil, right? That's the
yeah.
Not how deep you fish, it's how you wiggle your worm.
Yeah, see, exactly. But fantastic. Oh man, so where to go from there? Anyway, how's everyone doing? It's Christmas season, holidays, business is booming on our end. I know some people slow down around this time of year, but all depends on what you got going on. And Marty, I'm sure product sales, you got guys just ramping up, getting ready for 2023 to crush it. Definitely, myself included. I'm going to be getting a couple pallets from you, which will be good. So anyway, but you guys had any big plans over the weekend? I was sick as shit, but that's why I missed the last podcast. But how about you guys? Anything fun happen on the weekend? Nothing?
Well, my wife's a hairdresser, so Christmas season, right?
So, yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
That was like the worst dead airspace of all time.
Right?
What did you guys do this weekend? Anything?
I was trying to be respectful, let you go first,
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
That's what his wife does too.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife's a hairdresser, so of course it's busy season for her. She's just getting fresh off mat leave, so of course I was at home with the 4 kids all weekend. So that's
Nice.
about it. That's all I was up to. Yeah, just chilling with the kids.
Right on, man. That's good, man.
Good time.
Sometimes it's good.
Yeah. Sunday night I was defusing. I'm like, yeah, this is enough for me, man.
Yeah.
Check it out for a couple of days.
Absolutely, yeah.
Only thing we did, we hung out, but we went to celebrate wife's birthday, took her for sushi.
Oh, nice. Right on.
This little, one of those swanky places that likes to do the music and have the view
yeah.
and all that stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, right
So
on.
you're sitting at the bar for over an hour when your table's 30 minutes supposed to have already been there, and you just kind of start going, really? Again? This happened last time I was here. And it's like, fuck. We were the last people out of the whole restaurant because they made us wait so long to have a table that by the time we ordered our food and everything, everybody else was already gone and they were sweeping everything up. And it was like,
oh my God.
Fucker, like, God damn it.
Jesus. That's brutal, man. Was the food good though?
When you're, if you're having that bad of an experience, it better be fucking awesome. And
well, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
I think
all the time now to cook.
Well, no, sushi. We didn't cook.
Oh
no.
shit.
I think we got towards the end of the night and we got the kind of the rubbish in a sense. It really wasn't that great. The previous time that we went, like it just melts in your mouth type of good. And it's like,
yeah. Damn. So the place you go often though? Is that like a
we've been there before, multiple times. Okay. Yeah. Like,
yeah. Damn. And most times it's good. It's just
we're 2 for 2 on bad.
Okay.
But the other locations in town are great. So it's just this one location. Like
gotcha.
Just I don't complain. I don't get upset. Still tip, wave goodbye is what it is, like it's just brutal, right? Like fuck.
It's one of those things, it's hit and miss. Like my wife and I, we had a favorite restaurant here, went to all the time, just steady. It would be like an every 2 weeks kind of thing. That was our spot. We'd always go. And we went one time and we threw off our schedule though. We usually went for dinner. At this time, we were going somewhere for it was just before dinner service. It was around 3 p.m. And we were like, it's a late lunch. Let's just go grab something. And we went in there. Place was empty, but they were still open. And so we figured, it's before the dinner rush. This is good. We'll probably have an even better experience. They went and they sat us in some far off corner for some reason, even though no one was in there. And then we were sitting there and it was about 20 minutes and nobody even came to check and see if we wanted to drink. So we waited a little bit longer. Next thing you know, 35 minutes. We're like, fuck, this is nuts. So we left. We ended up just walking out, went to this place across the street. And that has been our go-to spot now. It's phenomenal. But it's a shame sometimes where like, you know, I miss the old place sometimes because they had certain plates and dishes that I really liked. But you know, something like that happens, you just take a breather. But it's really weird, you know, like it's sometimes you can, you know, 2 for 2, like you said, but then you go in one time. Yeah, I don't know. So what would you
No, this is 2 for
be?
2 on
Going
bad.
back?
This is 0 for 2 on good.
Oh, 2 for 2. I thought you said
No,
2 for 2
no,
at bat on bad. Oh
Mm.
shit. Oh man, that's a no-go then. That's a no-fly zone.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's gonna be tough to go back. It's gonna be tough to go back.
yeah, you'll have to be real hungry.
Is what it is. Is what it is. You seen any good post?
Me, well, I've seen some posts. There was one I mentioned to Darren about some lines. But I did see one funny one actually I'll mention, and it was a guy he posted he said, remember the time when, and like this is only going back about like a year and a half. He said, remember when we couldn't eat inside, so we ate outside, and we brought the outside to the we brought the inside to the outside so that we could be outside but eating in the inside. Basically, it was like a whole tongue twister thing, and it was showing people in these like little capsules. Remember when people were doing that outside restaurants and shit, and they're sitting in there eating so they didn't, you know, like cross-contaminate each other, but you're still basically inside because you're in a little bubble thing. Really strange. But when you think about it, I don't know how things are where you guys are at, but like where we are, a lot of life is just right back to normal, which is good. But it's pretty crazy to think not too long ago, that's how a lot of people were living. And the funny thing is I go into some restaurants now or other, you know, establishments, and you see like remnants of it, you know, but you don't even like, it doesn't compute that like, oh shit, there's like plexiglass in between like me and the next table anymore, because they've made it so subtle. And it's almost like there's been a whole like industry made now around making like COVID furniture or something, you know. It's like, yeah, where it's not just like some homemade plexiglass shit from Home Depot, the guy like, you know, screwed on in between 2 booths. Now it's like comes in a fancy little thing and it looks like it's part of the decor. It's pretty crazy. But I don't know, how's life where you guys are? Is it like kind of back to normal? There's still remnants of
COVID stuff? No, we don't have it. No, nothing here.
Yeah, you're like, we never did. Man, lucky.
Yeah, we still got lots of stuff. We were just sitting in a restaurant the other night, and they still have the plexiglass barriers between the tables.
Okay, yeah.
But certain places like Walmart doesn't even have like cart wipes anymore. They don't have hand sanitizer anywhere.
Listen, I'm with you, man. That to me is the crazy part. Everybody freaked out so much. There was wipes all over the place. Place that I go get therapy, you know, physical therapy and stuff. They would spray down everything. Like, nope, all that shit's gone. Like, you used to have to like deliver your personal, you know, bag that you put stuff in back to them so they could clean everything. And then now you take it back and they're like, no, just put it over there. I'm like,
yeah. And you're like, oh,
I really kind of like it. I like that clean. Like, I loved Corona for all that, right? Like, it's the healthiest year I'd been. I enjoyed.
There were a
wearing
lot of
mask.
pluses.
I enjoyed, like,
yeah, I actually miss it at the grocery store in particular. Because like, you know, people doing all kinds of crazy shit, man. They touch it. Like, I've seen people walk in the grocery store, scratching their ass before they get in there. They go fondle the grapes and shit. And then the masks stop them from coughing on things. Like, that's a plus, man.
Yeah, and I never was a big fan of being right up next to somebody anyway. Like, people now, they still want to come talk to you and they're 2 feet away from you. Like, hey, dude, like, I kind of enjoyed that 6 feet.
You missed the time where it's like, back up, you know?
It was bullshit, right? Like, miraculously 6 feet would be right. Like, I still think that's actual bullshit, but I enjoyed the like
little bit of distance, you know? Yeah.
Give me my bubble.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Definitely.
I know what that's like, because I had kind of like a mini panic attack when I came to Canada, 2017, I think it was. Landed in Toronto airport, and like I was coming from an island where, man, the big city had 10,000 people in it. Like, that was the capital city. Okay, it was like tiny, and the whole country had 100,000 people in it. And so there was a lot of space and distance in between people, especially when there was no tourists. Like, I used to take the kids to the beach. It'd be, you know, 11 kilometers of white sand, and it's just us. There's like not another human being on the planet on that beach. And then I landed in Toronto airport and started to walk out. Holy shit, man. There was just like, there's a million people a day that pass through the Toronto Pearson airport. And I was losing it. Like, it was a lot to take in, you know? So I know what you mean by the like having that distance, that cushion from people. Now I'm okay. Like I don't mind going around people, but it was a lot to take in, man. So losing that 6 feet, you know, and let's be honest, there's some people that you know, you see them and you'd like 12 feet in between. You know who we're talking about.
Mhm. All right, here's some funny ones that I seen.
All right.
I'll start with this one. I just think it's funny because I don't know. It's funny that all the dimensions of our industry, right? And this is I think it was when in one of the groups or whatever, and it was tape residue left over from removing some trim pieces. We all know what that is, right?
Yeah.
We all know that the number one way to get rid of it's a wheel, you know, throw that on a grinder and grind that thing off. But that's not exactly the way everybody does it now. There's all these different ways. How do you get it off?
So at our shop, when we're dealing with residue, it depends on the extent of it. But that's
like if you're removing that trim piece, right? There's always that real thick,
of course,
double-sided tape. You usually have to put a wheel on. Darvill, what do you use the wheel? You kind of did that. Like you're not a wheel guy?
No, we use the wheel. We use we use fishing line to get it off. So you're getting a deeper cut, and then we'll use a wheel. We'll sometimes, if there's a little bit left on, we'll use like an adhesive remover if we need to, but typically a wheel. That would be typically a wheel thing. Yeah.
One thing I was wondering, because like, so half my staff is like split. We got some old school guys, and then we got some new school guys. They do things very, very differently. So it's kind of interesting to see them working. Like with our tint, for example, we've got one guy who insists on using like a hair dryer. And then we've got our old school guys, they just use a blowtorch and they just get it done. So there's like a huge difference. So our old school guys, they use this stuff. And Darren, maybe you have the same stuff. Do you do windshield replacements too or no?
No.
Chip fix, nothing? No? Okay. No. You might have this for your tint stuff, because I know you do tint. But so we get this from the guys that give us our glass. We get it from them when we order windshields. And I think it literally just says glass cleaner on it. And it's supposed to be for like prepping the windshield before it goes in. But when we've used that and we had like stickers or something on the glass, we would use that and remove the stickers sometimes. And then we realized we're like, holy shit, this stuff, it works amazingly for adhesive, all forms of adhesive. But it's not harmful to anything like underneath. It doesn't matter what you use it on. So anyway, we've got some guys in the shop love using that shit. And then other people take a more manual process. So it's split down the middle of my shop. But I don't know. How about yourself, Marty?
Yeah, I was always the wheel. So that's why, but I knew there was other ways that people do it. So that's why I thought it was an interesting post. You know, I thought people would talk. Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's cool. You're split then. You do both. Your guys.
Yeah, we do both. Yeah. Oh. And when I said like depends on the extent of it, because so we do like debadging as well. And so it's the same kind of thing. Like sometimes you remove it easy peasy. Other times, it's a nightmare. And so it depends on how much is there. Sometimes you just need that human, intervention. You can't always just rely on chemicals and stuff like that. But other times it's so much faster. We just spray that shit on it and then it comes right off. But,
Yeah. Nice. All right. Here's the other one. In Detailers of Facebook, and it was a bucket heater.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I love this post, and I love that somebody's trying to figure out a different way of doing some things, because recently in an episode that I did, a little segment was things that make you go, and I get it that people get cold, and I get it, especially up there. You guys are colder than we are here.
Yeah.
Well, once you get below freezing, it really doesn't matter how much colder it gets. It's
still
cold,
below.
Right? Like you can't, you got to figure out a way to clean a car if you want to stay open. So things that made me go, was people that just close because it's winter. It's like, wait, what? So I really enjoy that, somebody out there was trying to find alternative ways to I always tried to figure out different ways. I had a diesel burning heater that was on my power washer, stuff like that, figuring out ways to keep my water hot and stay moving.
100%.
But the thing is, like, when you heat up water, hot water will turn to ice faster than cold water will turn to ice. So
that is true.
we learned
That's a cattle. That's actually, my grandparents were in the cattle business and they owned an auction. And that's what I learned that from way back as a kid. Yeah. You're absolutely right. But it's better for the hands when you're trying to wash the car.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
That's true. Yeah. It's funny because I saw that same post too. And it made me think of my old fish tank. So I used to have one of those in there to heat it up because I had these African cichlids and they needed the water to be warmer. And so I had one of those to heat up the water for them because it worked a lot better than the shit they sold you at the fish store. So I had one of those, like, it was more, I'd say like a commercial type application. Anyway, I loved my fish. Worked really well, but that is interesting. And now I'm wondering, when the water freezes, I wonder if there's a way that like you could kind of progressively like put on like colder water so then it wouldn't freeze as much. But either way, I think the biggest thing is find yourself into a garage of some kind. I think
somewhere. It freezes faster because there's more heat and so it transfers quicker and then it never can slow itself down and it just whoosh. Whereas when it's cold and it's just cold water, it doesn't react as fast. There's not as much momentum. For those of you that listen to the Pine Spoilers podcast, that was my buy yesterday and seeing out of the World Cup, can't understand what's going on because it wasn't in my language. Don't really know the game that well, even though my kids played and I used to coach, but you don't really know plays and you don't know. You can tell though, when momentum shifts, you can tell in players, you can tell, and it's a transferable energy. So my buy was, hey, you need momentum, you can transfer your own energy and create the momentum you need.
That's true. Nice. Okay.
My last one was momentum from this guy.
Okay.
This guy's definitely creating some momentum.
Yeah.
Right? Nice little Ferrari. Huh?
Yeah. Not
bad. Little ride. This is in a car spotting group that I'm in.
Okay.
It was parked out in front of OU Apartments.
Okay.
That's not a college.
So
somebody's creating some momentum in there. Good for him, if you can afford that car, then still stroll over to the college apartments and get her done.
Hey, sugar daddy.
Exactly right. It's exactly right there. Took somebody out for a night on the town and then went back and got his work done. Good for him.
It's when OnlyFans meets real life.
But it's just hilarious that somebody took a picture of that, posted in a group, right?
Yeah. Jesus.
Nicely done, man.
Yeah. Well done, sir. Hats off to you. Jesus. Oh man. So one other post I saw that I wanted to touch on, because I sent it over, is it was a post where someone was showing those it's one of those like ego posts, showing the picture perfect lines that they had made in the the back of the car and stuff like that. And I wanted to get you guys feedback on it because I know I'm very much in opposition here because I'm anti-line. Mainly just because as a business owner, I don't want to see my staff doing that kind of shit unless if we're doing photos for, like pictures for the gram or something like that. But just for every car that goes out, there's no point in it. But I wanted to get your feedback and see where you guys stand on it and what your thoughts are. If you guys are pro lines or anti lines.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm pro lines.
All right.
To a degree.
Okay.
So where we are, we're like central Canada and Manitoba. So we're big farming, egg country.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah. So so we don't. I mean, somebody coming in to spend $350 on a detail. It's clean, but is it like the wow factor? So for us, we're working on like Dodge Journeys. We're not working on Lamborghinis and Ferraris. We're working on Dodge Journeys and Caravans. And I mean, at the best, we're going to be like a C8, which a C8, I wouldn't do the lines, but unless they're like going to a car show or something, we'd do like the floor mats type of thing. But, when customers open up that hatch and they look and it's got nice line works and stuff like that, we want that like, whoa, that's awesome, right? And then they don't want to put their groceries on it and stuff. Like that's important to me. So adding a little bit of
differentiating factor. Okay. Yeah. Have you seen that where they have those templates where you get like your logo made and then you go over it? Oh, Marty's nodding. Yeah.
Okay. I want to tell you that I have some on order, but you'll hate me because you're anti-lines.
But I'm pro stencil.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. So, and I know that might seem strange.
I was going to say, Shawn, if you hated on that, it seems like really great branding.
Yeah, 100%. See that I'm with 1,000%, because then every time they open the trunk, well, at least until it goes away, they're gonna see that, and I have a feeling that would lead to more them taking a picture of it, sharing it around or something like that. It's pretty cool, and then your logo's there. What would be really cool is if you could get your phone number in the stencil or something like that. That would be dope. But or a QR code or something. Anyway, you know what? But
I'd prefer lines and stencils over like paper floor mats.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I always hated the floor mats personally. I feel like it just kind of looks junky. You know, I don't know. Like I was never a fan.
Most people don't take them out. They rip. You got paper, cardboard all over the car after. It's just,
well, exactly. It's also, you got to take them out. If I'm the customer and I've got to do something now, like I don't want to take the floor mat out. What? Like,
it's true. Yeah. We only put them in. We have them at the shop. We put them in when our guys are moving the car. That's about it. Just because if we don't want to get,
you go to the dealership and they don't take theirs out after you go through the service, you get annoyed. Like, ah, shit. Like,
you just take it out and throw it on the ground.
It's true.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
But Shawn, I've always been a lines guy. Okay. Always. Mobile detailing, I always loved it because two reasons. I serviced a lot of women. We're not to the tip yet, so don't worry.
After hours.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
detailing done,
and they seem to enjoy it. Like, I actually got, one of the big accounts that I had were oil and gas places that we'd go to every couple of weeks. And they were set up on a schedule, right? And the women loved it. They loved the design. They loved the stripes. They talked about it. Like it made them feel like they got a professional detail, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So
I used to do commercial carpet cleaning too, like residential and commercial, and I used to do it in like house carpets, but not long ones, but
triangles.
Like, exactly, the pyramids, right? So I do that all the time. People loved it. It feels fresh. It feels new. It feels extra, right? So that's kind of where I learned that. And then I did it, when I was 6 years old, trying to cut grass for $2 to go buy a chocolate bar or whatever. I do it in the grass. I mean, people are used to it. It's symmetrical.
And I think that's probably, I mowed lawns as a kid, all growing through high school and everything. And then I bet you, Darvill, that's probably a big reason why I naturally gravitated to the lines and the carpet, because when I stepped back from doing landscape, I always loved to see my lines, and I had customers specifically wanted that in their grass. They wanted to be able to see that. So it also became practical for our, weekly maintenance customers. We had people, I'm not joking, like every Friday morning at 7 a.m. right? Like, I mean, every Monday night at 6, like people were on a set schedule. It didn't matter. Those people, it was very practical because you knew where people had been, right? You knew how their week had gone. And especially if you ever saw the lines in the back got messed up, then you knew you needed to do a little bit more. Otherwise, you could just kind of tidy back up those lines, make sure the seat had everything good, and you were ready to go. It was a way of hacking, in a sense, of how much cleaning I needed to do that time. And I could tell if they had people in the back of their seats or not. And then we could just keep our focus on the other side. Because on maintenance, and if you're there every week, right, this is where the detailing, a lot of people get mixed up. It's like, well, I don't want to do maintenance because it's so much less. I'm only making, and they put in a dollar figure, $50, 75, 100, whatever. Well, you don't realize you're trying to get 3 or 4 cars done at the same time. You're there trying to be there for only a couple hours. You're trying to knock stuff out. And so if you've got a system, carpet lines were one of our system to help us make sure that we could be very efficient through that process, because we wanted to be in and out.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Okay. I think you guys have convinced me. I got a meeting tomorrow. I think my staff's going to be pissed, but
only if you got oil and gas women and weekly maintenance customers that you do mobile. That's it.
Yeah. And all right, there we go.
It is. I mean, come on. So I think the creative part where people that have gone and started doing all the sides of everything, that's where it gets interesting. Darvill, I'm like you. I do like most of the times when I'll still do something on my carpets. I don't do the straight lines because I don't see that, the people that come in here are kind of more distant and random. My mobile guy takes care of all of our maintenance stuff now. So I just like to throw in those triangles real quick. Like it still leaves something to let somebody know I took attention to this part of the carpet. And I really tried, because they'll see that when they vacuum their own house, or if they'll do stuff a certain way, and then they'll go, oh yeah, okay. And it can become that symbolism of, yeah, this guy really took some care on my mats.
The other thing is too, is like maybe Marty doesn't see it as much because he does a lot of maintenance where we don't really do it. But we have customers that come in, you know, oh, I haven't detailed this in 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Well, you're not physically going to be able to get every stain out in the allotted amount of time that we're charging them for the service. So 100%. The line work kind of takes your eyes away from the little bit of staining that's there, right? So they're less likely to look and see like a little stain sitting there that you worked at, but you didn't get it 100%. Like they're less likely to look at that and be like, oh, you didn't get that. They'll look at the lines and be like, oh,
I used to own a car wash, man. We had plenty of that stuff.
Oh, you'll get it.
So we actually sometimes would brush the carpet back the other way. So it's the dark side.
Yeah. Which you should technically be doing for drying carpet anyway. So standing your piles up.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, man, that's good feedback. Okay, so anyone listening, they've now convinced me lines are good, the right kind of lines.
Yeah. And the right kind of lines, not the white kind of lines.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you guys convinced me to come to the dark side and the right kind of lines. Yes. But no, that's fantastic. But okay, good stuff. All right, so pro lines. All right, and yeah, what else we got? So, well, we did want to play a game at the end of all this. So to make time for that, I think we should jump into some tips, because if not, as you know, I'm going to just start putting in a little tip. Next thing you know, it's over. I'm going to blow my top.
Still just a tip.
Still just a tip. I know.
Curious how that happens, right?
Just always happens. So
do robots have just the tip though? Like, yeah. I don't know how you guys are built. So
I do occasionally. Yeah. It's really just all tip. So it's
okay. Yeah. Depends how the mechanism lets it out.
But it's a wide tip. Yeah. So exactly. It's a big brush. You know, broad strokes. That's oh my God. So my tip to jump into things is about choices. I've been talking to some guys recently, and a lot of people are taking this downtime to kind of restructure their packages or take a look at their business and review their stats for the last year, what was selling, what wasn't selling, so on and so forth, which is a really smart thing to do. If your business is slowing down a bit, take that time to look for refinements in your business, of course. And so what I noticed, though, is in talking with some of these people and coaching them through things, a lot of people were looking to add more choices next year because they felt that they could be selling more if they added more options for customers. And I tried to explain to a lot of them, which they all got, which was good, that more choices can actually lead to customer paralysis, and it can cause people to not make decisions. And even if they do make a decision, they ultimately will feel less satisfied, and they will feel like they made a wrong choice because they're now thinking about all the options that they had, or they're just confused, and confused customers rarely buy. And it all goes back to, there's a study. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the JAM study. The first one was done in like year 2000, and then they redid it again, I think 2010, and then 2018 as well. But basically what they did, it started in Columbia, University of Columbia and Stanford, I think. And what they did is they went to a farmer's market and they set up a bunch of jams. And the whole goal was to do this test. So the first day at the farmer's market, they set up something like 24 different varieties of jams. So you had tons of choices. And they saw how people were, you know, looking at them. They were interested. That test had the most interest, but didn't have very many purchases. The next couple of days, they switched it and they only put out 6 different variations. That's it. Those are your choices. And even though the booth didn't get as much interest as the previous days, what they found is that their sales were 10% higher for each of the varieties. And the whole reason is because people didn't have too many choices. They weren't confused. They weren't scared of making the wrong choice. And they were also able to make a decision quickly. So there's all those things. And so if you're someone that's redoing your packages, I think it's important to remember that less is more. And you should have more than one option, for example, you know, because then people do feel like they have a choice. But at the same time, don't think that you need to separate everything out into, you know, like I've got the bronze, the gold, the silver, the platinum, the titanium, the this and that. You're just going to overload your customers. You're going to confuse them. They won't be able to make a decision. And more importantly, it's going to be really difficult for you to explain the value of each of those in a way that they understand in a short and concise period of time, because you don't have a whole lifetime to sell to people. So my recommendation, my tip for today is avoid choice paralysis and take this time, this downtime, if you have some, even if you don't, take this Sunday 100% and force yourself, spend some time and restructure your offerings that you have. If you are having some, slower periods, or if you don't feel you're selling as much, it'll really help boost your sales. Absolutely. There you go. That's it. See, just a tip. That's it.
Got it.
I warmed them up.
Darvill, you want it?
Yeah, I'll take this one. This actually works out pretty good, because when I was thinking about it, I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And it kind of aligns with Shawn. So my thing is like listening and understanding what your customers' needs are. So in saying that, exactly right. Less is more. When I started, I had a whole bunch of packages. I've been doing this for 19 years on and off. So I wanted everything in there. I narrowed down my packages, and now it's super easy. When people phone, they're like, how much to detail a 2019 Honda Accord? Okay. Inside's like, the complete is this, the interior is this. Oh, okay. Well, do you have anything less? Well, we have an interior with no shampoo, but you have to have a service within the last 6 months. We have a maintenance clean, which you have to have a full service within the last 3 months. And we explain it kind of that way. They only have the 2 options, but then we have so many other things, right? Like we have our coatings and everything. So build up on your other services rather than just your majority service, and then don't have a whole bunch of options, because you're just going to confuse people, and they're going to people will notoriously pick the cheapest service possible. So you can have the best of the best for 300, and if you have the worst of the worst for 220 and then a mediocre for $60, like for like 240, they're going to pick the 220 even though they know it's the worst of the worst, because that's just how we're wired. We're wired to spend less money.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
but
And that's where a good idea
on,
too. Start them at the high and then work your way down, because then it's going to make those other ones seem not as bad, versus if you start there, they might be like, oof, geez, 220. If you start at like 340, then you work your way down, they're like, oh, 220 is not that bad, actually.
Yeah.
It's the wiring. Yeah.
And then on top of that, like if you're listening to your customers' needs and they're explaining, I have kids, I have pets, I have this, you can deliver the exact package that they need, because you're like always have packages in the back of your mind that you can work with. But
For sure.
if you listen to what they need and then you can deliver on that, then they're like, wow, this person's really listening to what I need. And like, I'm just going to listen to what they have to say. Like build that trust with them and the rapport that you understand exactly what they need, because you're the professional and they're not. So 100%. That would be my tip.
Nice. Yeah. See, and just the tip.
Just the tip.
He's like, that'll be my tip.
Yeah.
Done.
Nothing more, nothing less.
3 tips. I don't know.
I'm done. 3 tips, a triple
One for each
tip.
hole.
That's a triple tipper.
The triple tipper.
Don't worry, we're still 2 less than the normal episode where Shawn does 4. So
yeah, this is true. Thanks. Yeah. And I'm done. My God. All right, Marty.
You can't eject the tip too much.
Yeah.
So mine comes off of a little recommendation. If people would hear what Shawn has to say when he talks about a book, This I Know. So I started listening to This I Know, and he gives an illustration about when people feel they believe. So I think that we can symbolize this in a couple different ways. And I as I've said before, I've grown very fond of watching the World Cup, but will not be watching soccer, every day and every weekend here on out, right? Like it was just because it was the World Cup, right? Like that's the only reason why I was watching it. And of course, especially in the very finals, the stars came to the top, right? Messi scored his goals. He did his thing. The other guy from France did hit. Like it was cool to see the stars get, do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But what about all the other people? Everything that they had gone through, and they were regular players celebrating also that they were in the World Cup. And I kind of put myself into their spot, because I don't know, most of us, we probably like to play sports and probably have played, some type of competitive sports. And we always thought that we might be somewhat good. I was always just that other guy that made the team, right? I was never the star since like elementary school, right? Like I never was. I was just a guy that made the team. I was always on the team, always was kind of just part of the team.
Last picked.
Anytime I made a play, or anytime we won a championship, or, played in college and won stuff, it was just like, I just celebrated because I was part of the team and this
Part of
was a
this,
dream
yeah.
that I'd wanted to do. And it's like, man, well, how much do we get to celebrate as detailers, as entrepreneurs? Because physical games of, sporting events, those athletes have to eventually hang it up. Right. And it became to me a celebration of every day we get to go play, every day we get to go do our craft, everything that we want. Hopefully most of us that are in this want to be here, right?
Yeah.
Want this a part of our life instead of something else. Hopefully that's why we're here, right? Like as part of our life, this is our lifestyle. So celebrating it, like
100%.
being excited about it, being ecstatic that we get to do our dream. I think there's so many people that don't get to live their lives with fulfillment because they're not really doing what they want to do. So, when we feel, we believe. Feel the celebration, feel the excitement. It transfers over to your customers. It transfers over to your business. It transfers over to people. Energy is transferable. And so when you're excited and you feel the excitement, your customers will also believe in, and listen, it's not some, I'm polishing paint, so I got to give this big, long spiel about being an entrepreneur and grinding, and I'm continuing to wait. That's not the excitement I'm talking about. Like, I'm talking about this is put them to feel how dirty the car was. And I love those extractor videos where people like suck up stuff and then they let it pour out, but have a little bit more into it, instead of just like open it up and we're just seeing all this dirty water. Like, tell the story a little bit, get us to feel what's going on. And hey, do you look at your carpet and you see this? Let me show you how this is disgusting, right? Like, you feel, you believe.
That's true. I like that.
Here's my tip.
Love it.
Nice. That was a good one. And it's so true. And especially how it translates into sales as well. Because sales is just a transference of feeling, right? And so when you're trying to get your customer, like you're telling them about the value, well, you're increasing the value so you can build that connection with the customer, right? And then, when you're offering an offer, it's so that you can get them to convert, but it's the whole way through. It's getting them.
See?
Man.
See?
It's not a tip. I was agreeing with your tip.
Can't do it. Can't
do it. But no, because here's
once
the thing.
He gets that tip in, he's got to go for a second.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Then he's about to go for a third right here in a second.
If he gets the tip wet, he's got to get the rest wet too. Yeah, right to the base.
I'm a big tipper. What can I say?
Even at the bad sushi restaurants.
Exactly. And so I feel proud. I was talking with my daughter about this the other day. We were driving and I was like, she asked me how my year has been. And I was like, my year's been fantastic. And it seemed like a strange question. My daughter, she's 13 now and she's turning 14. And it just seemed like, we go for these drives sometimes. We'll go like, shopping or something like that. And she'll ask me these weird questions or she'll like just, when we're talking, it's just stuff you wouldn't expect like your kid to just ask you, you expect them to be like, why is water blue or some silly stuff. And she's like, how's your year been? I was like, it's amazing. How about you? We're talking back and forth. And then she was like, what's the one thing you're most proud of this year? And I said, honestly,
it's off the clock. Shawn just admitted he hadn't seen his kid all year. He keeps telling us he's got to go pick up his kid, and she just I picked her up the other day. She asked me how my year's been.
yeah. She's 40 proof.
Have you seen the amount of work he does on OrbisX, man? He does the amount of work in one day that most people do in an entire year. So every day is a year for Shawn. He's 365 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Every day, yeah. I live in a different space-time continuum, exactly. And but you know what? I'm so proud that. So I wake up every day and I do exactly what I want to do. I love it, and I celebrate that all the time. And so my wife and I do this thing every time that someone new signs up for a trial or something like that. We do a high five, and so we'll just be messaging each other all day, and I'll be like, got 5 high fives, babe. And then she'll be like sending me back like high five in a text. And we keep going like that.
That's cool.
And because what I'm most proud of is that this year we processed $140 million through OrbisX, which is amazing. And now why that's amazing is not because it's $140 million. That's wonderful. But what it means is that all the businesses that are using OrbisX, they're supporting their staff, their businesses, their dreams. They're alive. And so I literally get message every day. People are telling me things like, oh my God, OrbisX changed my life. Oh my God, it's amazing. And they're telling me specifically how it's helped them. Like, the one guy, he was going through a tough time before. He was using another software. I won't mention names, but it was shit. Let's just say that. And anyway, they switched to OrbisX, and they said, we've seen a huge increase in our ticket sales, in our reviews, all that stuff. And they said, I actually, for the first time, they've been in business for 7 years. And they said, for the first time in 7 years, they felt like they could take their foot off the gas. They said they're not going to, but they felt like they could because they can breathe. They feel like they've got a team backing them, and they're like, it's just the software. And so it feels good knowing that, so I feel it, I believe it. And as you guys know, like, you see it in the group, you see how I communicate with people. My passion for it comes across. And I think that that's what makes it so special. And if you can do that same kind of thing for your business, as Marty's tip said, because it's not my tip. Marty's
tip.
I'm piggybacking off.
Pulled my tip out and put his tip in. He's trying to put my tip back in. This is getting a little odd. I don't know if Darvill.
I'll just sit back here somewhere.
Gingerly touch tips.
Be in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. No, that's even too much for off the clock. Buddy of mine told me something. He said something hilarious. I had no idea what it was. He explained it. Anyway, you know what? That'll be for another time. But anyway, so Marty's tip.
Want to play a game?
Oh yeah, shit.
Want to play a game?
Let's play a game. Absolutely. Yeah.
Movie quote?
Well, there's few that are like that.
Want to play a game? Yeah, Saw.
Yeah, Saw, right? Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, then also, wasn't it?
You said it the last time. I was like, maybe it's something
also a scary movie too, right? Like,
oh yeah. Who the hell was in that one? Oh fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. Saw is still one of the best. I love Saw movies. Those are
Saw's good. Yeah.
So
in my opinion, it actually got progressively better. Like as it got into the stories and stuff, it got a lot more gory and stuff, but I don't know. So on that note, we do have a game today, though. Given that it's the Christmas season, Feliz Navidad. It's a game that actually Darvill brought up. So I can never remember what the game's called. Darvill, go ahead, explain.
What can you say at Christmas dinner, but you can't say in the bedroom?
That's right. So yeah. So what you can say at Christmas dinner that you can't say in the bedroom. I have so many just the tip jokes right now.
Hey, go for it. Go for it. Let's hear them.
All right.
Let's see. So something you can say at dinner, but not in the bedroom. Dinner at Christmas, Christmas dinner. So
wow, this is dry.
I mean, you can't say that at Christmas dinner. That would be very insulting.
But that's fine. If somebody brings like dry turkey, you're gonna tell them this is dry.
You definitely can't say that in the bedroom.
If your wife brings dry turkey and you say, "Wow, this is dry," she's like, "Motherfucker!" Like you get it once a year, and you're not getting it this year. So,
yeah. Let me think here. I'm thinking something around toys.
Wow, this is moist.
Wow, this is moist.
Now that's something. Yeah.
I'm real no. Fuck, I don't know. What could you say during Christmas?
The only thing I thought of that was almost kind of along those lines, though. So I don't mean to piggyback you, but it's like, wow, this is lumpy.
Wow, this is lumpy.
Like stuffing can be a little lumpy or some other thing.
Potatoes.
Yeah, because I mean, you could say like, I really love your gravy. Like, I don't know.
That would be something. Yeah. Really
wow, that's salty.
Oh, that's salty.
Hey, bro, you got cranberry on your chin.
Can your dad help me with the bird? Just trying to think. I don't know.
Just stuff it in the back between the legs.
There you go. I say that in the bedroom all the time, actually.
Oh, do you? Okay, yeah, perfect. Grandma's pie.
Oh yeah, that's grandma's pie. Oh, shit.
Can you pass the Cool Whip?
That one I do say as well. Grandma's pie. Jesus. Let me think here. I'm thinking something with mashed potatoes and stuff. What do you guys typically have for a Christmas dinner?
That's why I'm kind of side. We don't really do. We're not big Christmas. I mean, we're not even. We're gonna go over. We're gonna have Christmas breakfast.
Oh,
Well, I
okay.
guess
That's
you
kind
guys
of more our
celebrate like
tradition. Yeah.
Thanksgiving down in the U.S. a lot, though, eh? Like
That's a bigger one, I think. Yeah.
Thanksgiving is
Yeah.
more the dinner. Yeah, that's
Right.
Yeah.
Christmas is more of like the presents,
and
hanging out. Like
it's different in
people will-
Canada. We're
People
all
will cook
different.
and they'll have
Yeah.
people over, and you'll usually have food, but it's not really like Thanksgiving is much
Thanksgiving.
more like more
It's the
structured.
bigger one, yeah.
Yeah, we switch it.
Christmas is all
Yeah,
over.
us it's backwards. Yeah, I'd say more Thanksgiving. Well, especially like both Darren and I actually come from families that have indigenous parents and stuff. So like Thanksgiving for us is not really
Yeah, that's fair.
like I have a status card, like I'm status Indian. So like Thanksgiving is not really a great day for us.
Let's celebrate being colonized. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Good one.
Yeah, take your turkey and go back home, please. But yeah, so it is different for us. But yeah, Christmas, we do a Christmas dinner thing, but not I did actually get a turkey, but only because my wife wanted a turkey just because she likes to taste the turkey. But I got a rabbit that I'm gonna be cooking up, and then what else we got? Saltfish. We'll usually do like a Caribbean breakfast thing like that. So we eat a lot of saltfish though. I don't know if you guys like cod or salty fish, but yeah, it's we'll have that. Usually that, some ackee.
I did get some crab a week or so ago.
Oh, nice.
I just made some crab cakes, made some little egg crab tacos for breakfast tacos.
Nice. Oh,
Big
I
fan of
love tacos, fish tacos, crab tacos.
I love crab and eggs and tacos.
Crab and eggs. Huh, interesting. I've never had that one though. That's new. What about you, Darvill? You had that one? Crab and eggs.
No, most people
I'm
have it.
not. I'm not a seafood, fish, anything
Oh,
eater.
shit.
I'm just not.
Well, you're living in the right place. You're like right in between both coasts.
Yeah, literally. I'm in the middle, so we're
I don't like seafood. Okay,
Yeah,
go to the most middle part of the.
Yeah, exactly. All right, good. That's it. Yeah, it's so funny. Like me, I'm the opposite. I love seafood. I can eat seafood
me
every
too.
day.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, shit. Damn.
Like,
So
cook me
I
with a
wonder, we'd
steak.
have to do this game by the Christmas tree then, and not the, so then you could have things that you say, that you wouldn't say by the tree. That you could
Throwing
say.
up.
Yeah, like I'm thinking something like, should we open the toys in front of the kids or something? No. I was like,
Should we play with the toys in front of the kids? No.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that, yeah. So then,
Mom, it's a wooden buzz, just like you have.
exactly. Yeah, Jesus. Oh my God. All right, listen, before I throw out another tip, because I can feel it coming on. I'm gonna say thank you guys so much for your time, man. We'll do same thing, same time next week. Absolutely. We'll have more tips for you. I will keep it just to one. I will be within my limit. And then Marty's like, hell no. I will do everything within my power to restrain myself and limit myself to 13 tips. That's what I will do. Good stuff, man. All right, guys. Pleasure as always. Everyone, pay attention to everything we said here. Rewind it, lick it back, and watch it again. You'll learn some really good stuff. And don't forget to tune in to that Pints of Polishing podcast that Marty mentioned about momentum. You're going to learn some great stuff there as well. All right, guys. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Darvill, good to see you, man.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
too, Mark. Okay, see you guys.
See ya.